Hey guys, how you doing? Ron Nut here. Well, today I've got a new video for you. This one is on the ASRock Z77 OC formula motherboard. Now that OC stands for overclocking. This board was designed with special overclocking features, and so what we're going to do here is take a look around the box and take a look at the contents, and then we'll get a close-up look at the motherboard and the features of it. So let's take a look. So on the cover of the box we have this really cool graphic of some high-end sports car blended in with some of the motherboard, the Z77 OC formula logo, and support for Intel processor, Intel chipset for Z77, NVIDIA SLI, ATI Crossfire, and of course compatible with Windows 7. On the back of the box we have this pretty cool graphic with the tack in the middle, showing red line, upper right picture of the board, and then some of the key features like the twin power cooling, 8-layer PCB, gold fingers, rapid overclock buttons, PCI on-off switches, and then stuff about the 12+4 power phase design. On the inside of the box cover, what they do is break down each of the key features of the motherboard, and they talk about them. I won't read them all, but I'll bring it up close so that you can actually see what they have on the package here for each of those pieces. The 12+4 power phase design, supposed to help overclocking, power stability. Premium choke, which it allows you to reduce some core loss, and the chokes are supposedly highly magnetic and heat resistant to increase the lifespan of the board. MFC, I was wondering what that was. That's multiple filter cap. So special caps on there. Dual socket MOSFET. Connectors, high density power connectors on this motherboard. That's actually power connector for the ATX. One is an 8-pin, one is a 4-pin, and we'll see that a little closer when you look at the board. Some gold fingers, supposedly more conductive. Twin power cooling, that is the ones that run over the MOSFETs. There is you can either do water cooling or air cooling. We have 8-layer PCB, and they give you some GIL GC Extreme thermal compound. Going down to the bottom, fine-tuning V controller, so some voltage controls within the UEFI. This is one of the things that's unique. It'd be interesting to see how this works. This Nick Shee is a professional overclocker, and he's created some profiles that allow you to overclock your board using his profiles. So to me it seems like that takes half the fun away. Interactive UEFI, so it's got some sound effects and stuff within the UEFI, which you don't usually see so far. Formula drive, some software for fine-tuning. Multiple thermal sensors, so it provides users temperatures of various parts of motherboards. A lot of motherboards nowadays have more thermal reporting, and you can see on here it shows a bunch of highlighted points for those thermal sensors. And ASRock always has had this fast USB and I/O, so here they're touting that again. Of course it has Virtuo. This is the PCIe on-off switch that you can have. Rapid overclock allows you to incrementally raise and lower the base clock and CPU vCore and other features right on the board. And then vProbe allows you to use your meter to actually get direct readings of voltages right off the motherboard. And then down here we have some of the core piece specification information. Z77 chipset, PCIe slots, DDR, memory. That goes actually from 1066 up to 3000. SATA, RAID, USB ports, audio, LAN, and the form factor is CEB is a server or workstation form factor, but this motherboard still fits in ATX cases. So now let's take a look inside at the accessories. Alright, let's take a look inside. We have Virtuo, MVP, GPU virtualization, information, instructions. We have ASRock, talking about their 5x fast LAN, fast USB, and fast RAM. We have software setup guide. We have Z manual, and of course in multiple languages, pretty thick. And we have here the driver CD. And over here we have a pretty cool, very special pouch just for you. We have 3 sets of SATA cables, and one has a right angle at the one end and straight at the other, and the other cable in each pack is just straight and straight. So you get 3 right angle one end and straight connections at the other. We have the I/O shield, very nice I/O shield, black with the gold trim. We have an SLI 2 card SLI bridge. We have a Molex 2 SATA power connector. We have a set of, they call it overclock stands. Basically these are plastic standoffs that you can mount on the bottom of the motherboard, and so you can create your own little tech bench with the motherboard if you don't have one or some other area. A lot of people I see use boxes, but it's cool that they give you a little set of plastic stands. Just remember to remove them before you try to install your motherboard. Then we have a PCI I/O bracket for 2 USB ports, which you can remove the USB from this 3.5-inch drive bay that they give you. This is really nice. It's something that ASRock and most of all the ASRock boards that I've bought have this. I love to have this tray, and it's very very nice. Just plain black, saying USB 3.0, doesn't have any special logos or anything else cluttering the front, so it's a nice clean design, I think. Nice foot. And we have another Molex 2 SATA power cable. We have the Guild thermal paste, thermal compound is what that is. And then last but certainly not least, in here we have an ASRock OC formula badge. So so that's what's inside of the nice pouch. It tells us how special we are for buying this motherboard. Now let's wait no further and take a look at the motherboard. So here we have the motherboard, starting with the DigiPower voltage regulator circuitry, which is underneath this heatsink. It works as a 12+4 phases and uses very high quality components. There's dual stack MOSFET, premium alloy chokes, and multiple filter capacitors. You can see the multiple filter capacitor around here. You can see some of the chokes hidden underneath the heatsink there. This heatsink is both a passive heatsink, well, active. It's got a fan right here, a 40mm fan, but it also has water cooling capability. So you remove these caps, and there are barbs that allow you to pass water through, so you can incorporate it into your water cooling loop. Here we have the LGA 1155 pin chipset, and the pins are all gold, 15 micron alloy gold. We have 4 DIMM slots that support up to 32 gigabyte of memory, everywhere from 1066 to 3000 megahertz speed. That's overclock. And over here we have the post indicator LED. readout. We have the PCI Express lanes switch that you can turn off those 3 PCIe Express lanes individually. We have the rapid overclock buttons that, using a software utility, will allow you to adjust the base clock, the V-core, and the multiplier. We have here the V-Pro points. You can actually take your multimeter and get actual real direct readings of your voltages on your motherboard. And we have your standard 24-pin ATX motherboard connection. Here we have a USB 3.0 connector. I'll take you through the fans in a second. The heatsink, aluminum heatsink for the Z77 Express chipset. Over on this side we have the connection for a speaker. And then we have the front audio panel connection. We have power switch, reset switch, dual BIOS, although you use the one BIOS and the other one is a backup of the main BIOS. In case you brick or lose the main one, you can restore it from the backup BIOS. And it's nice that they're actually socketed, so if you really hose things up, you need to get a new chip, you can do that. Some BIOS chips, even with the dual BIOS ones, are soldered onto the motherboard. But anyway, and we have USB. You have USB 2.0, 1, 2, 3 USB 2.0s. We have COM port. We have HD audio. And on the fans, there are 8 fan connections. Starting at this end, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, one thing to note that 2 of them are 4-pin fan connections, a CPU fan over here and then a chassis fan over here. Although, according to the documentation, any of the fans can be adjusted the voltage through voltage. They can adjust the RPMs of the fan. For the PCI Express, we have 3 of them here, but the key thing to note that this one is a full 16 wired, physically 16 times. This is an 8, and that's a 4. Then we have the 2 PCI Express 2.0 one-time ports there, connectors. Over here we have the ATX power connections. We have a standard 8-pin EPS ATX connection and then a 4-pin. Now, if you have a newer power supply that has 2 8-pin connectors, obviously the one will be no issue, and you would think the second one you can plug on there and have it hang off to this side, the other 4. Well, I've already tried it, and it turns out that this capacitor right here prevents the connector from fully seating and locking. So you can't just simply put your other 8-pin on here. You're going to have to get an adapter. So what I did is I went to Performance PCs and I bought this adapter, which takes the 8-pin connector and it reduces it right down to the 4-pin, so that I don't have any issues with plugging it up. So I looked at that on the motherboard, and when I saw this and I actually got it, I was just messing around before doing this, and I found out that that doesn't work. So just keep that in mind if you're going to be buying this motherboard and you have a power supply that doesn't natively have a 4-pin ATX connector on it. So you're going to have to get an extension. On the SATA front, the Z77 Express chipset provides for 4 3 GB per second ports. Those are the black ones, and it provides 2 6 GB per second ports, and then Marvel provides 4 additional 6 GB per second SATA ports. So there's a total of 6 on here of the 6 GB and 4 of the 3. Now on the rear I/O. Rear I/O we have, starting with a PS2 connector, which is great, especially on an overclock board. You want to have this hardwired and not have to worry about USB. And we have 6 USB 3.0 ports, the clear CMOS button, an HDMI port, Broadcom Ethernet 10100 1000, 4 USB 2.0 ports, and the HD audio. Other than that, one other thing that's pretty cool to point out is Nick Shee signed the motherboard. He's a professional overclocker that has developed some profiles that come with the board that allow you to to automatically identify the processor and provide you with some recommended overclocking features. Now, for me, that makes it way too easy, but we'll see how it works. And but I think it takes the fun out of overclocking. And one of the things I forgot to point out was over here, additional power for the SLI crossfire when you have multiple graphics cards. So you got a 4-pin Molex connection to provide that on that side of the motherboard. You know, it's nice that people are starting to put them on a side where you're going to have cabling coming to it anyways. So many times I see on ASUS boards and other ones, they actually have the connector sticking up way the heck back here, and that's, for me, that's a, you know, that's a pain. You know, you're running a cable all the way to the back, right by the rear I/O. So that's a nice piece there. And then same thing they did with the ATEX connections. They put it on the edge of the board, so it makes it cleaner when you're building and dressing cables in your case. Well, that's it on the ASRock Z77 OC formula motherboard. It's going to be interesting to see how well this motherboard overclocks my i7-3770K. And if you've been following me, you know I'm going to be using this inside of a Merlin SM8 case from Case Labs. I have a new build codenamed Thunderstorm, and I'm going to be putting that together and posting videos on the build, and you get to follow me and see how well this board performs. So I hope you liked, and if you did, please like and favorite, and if you're so inclined, please subscribe. That's it from Ron's a Nut. Thanks for watching.